Hello everybody, we're back here at California's Great America. It is currently September 8th and a lot of hump preparation is going on and a lot of change is already in the air. You can already tell there's some colored light overlays going in at Carousel Columbia. Looks really nice. I think they've always had that for every year for haunt. First time I really ever noticed it though. Over here also, if you remember, Hot Rhythm Nights was in the Celebration Plaza in that area near Hometown Square. And that stage is completely gone. Company, it's actually not the park, is doing the renovation and the construction of the stage. As you can see, they have the all-wheel sports trampolines on here on the sides. They also have these are kind of foldable. They have the option of sitting flat as well. As you can see, they're positioned at an angle. As you can see, they have some of the ramps and scaffolding. It's a much taller stage than normal than say what Hot Rhythm Nights had. But it's definitely coming along. That's really good. And this is going to be for Night Walkers, which is the basically all-wheel sports kind of Halloween kind of show, if you will. And now they've got a bunch of different light packages on the side too. I'm sure that looks pretty cool. Over here in Hometown Square, there is a lot of little orange theatrical gels that have been put around a lot of the light posts around the area. In addition, a lot of light trusses have made their appearance, as well as some actual Haunt branded electrical boxes over here, as you can see. And unfortunately, Mr. Theme Park Squirrel has been wreaking havoc on these poor little plants over here, pulling them up. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, he's a Theme Park Squirrel. He's not having it with those plants. Also, they have a lot of different little streamers here on the gazebo here in Hometown Square. In addition, there's other streamers on some of the buildings here, like Panda Express and the still not open Starbucks. Has some lighting being done for Winterfest. Hopefully by then it'll be open. But right now, some of the paint, the green paint they put on there is already chipping, which I find interesting. Here's of course some of the renders for what this full service Starbucks location will look like once it opens, whenever that may be. The all-wheel sports show, I think it was Elevation Extreme, has already closed for the season. They are no longer showing that or performing there. They will instead be performing over here, I believe, as Night Walkers on the new stage that took the place of Hot Rhythm Nights stage. They still have some of the little scrims here on the side and the little details from the show and some of the other details from the summer, but that will all be gone along with these plants likely for haunts come September 21st. There's been some work on the green train of RailBlazer. It is currently still undergoing some maintenance. They occasionally will switch them out during the day or halfway around like 4-ish. But they did not do that today. They have been the yellow and the red train all day. And hopefully that means that RailBlazer will indeed be running during haunt, because people are going to want to ride this when they come by the masses. In addition, Whitewater Falls, as you may have known by now, has reopened and it's just as good as ever. I don't really ride those kinds of things, but it's open for if you like it. RailBlazer has also got some of those orange colored lights here around the area, and as you kind of shift into towards the back of the park near the Demon, all the lights start to turn from orange to gold and then to this nice blue right here. And all the lights on the outside of the ride will have different colors, but the queue lights will remain the same. Now, we're not too sure if Demon Reignited will be making its reappearance. They still have some of the same little decals, and I don't imagine it's too hard to do that overlay again. So as you can see, RailBlazer has all this little theatrical gels, giving it that nice spooky look to it. Here it comes. I believe most of these rides will be open during haunts, as well as during Winterfest, as I've heard, as some of the preparations and lights have been found on the far end of the park as well. So that'll be fun to finally have the majority of the park opened during Winterfest instead of having it stop right about here or wherever it was last time. Now we're walking over here towards Grizzly. I believe it will also be open, but as you can see, there's going to be some massive changes to Cornstalkers over here. Now, some of the criticisms of Cornstalkers last year, in the last season of Haunt, was that there really wasn't a ton. So you'd start here and you go all the way around Grizzly, all the way to the back, or pretty much like 60% of the turnpike here. I forget the name, I can't remember it offhand. But now the majority of Cornstalkers will just entail to the core of the actual maze, which includes like a lot of like the farm stuff and this little windmill with a head on it, and obviously the corn. And so it will be very condensed, and I'll hopefully get a lot of people in and out. I thought it was interesting, but I felt like I lacked a lot of scare actors and things that made you jump. We don't really have a lot of information. We do know that Toy Factory will not be returning for the 2018 Haunt season, but instead will be replaced by Tooth Fairy, which was one of the mazes that was at Knott's Berry Farms, or Knott's Scary Farms, this past year, and then they moved it over here. So presumably they got their props, and now they're going to be running Tooth Fairy over here. It's been a very light day today. There really haven't been that many major crowds that I've seen. So it's definitely a good time to come around this area once the summer crowds have died down and everyone's back in school, and also prior to Haunt. Only two things are closed, which would be Barney Field Speedway, I think is what it's called, the turnpike, and also Willa Dodge, which we'll get to in a moment. We are now on the Skyway, the Eagles Flights section, headed towards Willa Dodge, and obviously more blue lights. There also is some preparation for the Great Pumpkin Fest going on in Planet Snoopy, and that will be for the kids, and so that also goes on in the daytime before Haunt opens up to the public. It's a nice pretty day tonight. There's some more preparation going on over in the former Loggers Run and HMB Endeavor section. This is still unannounced what it will be for, but as you can see, there's some major land clearing, and they've since reduced the majority of the Pants Playhouse, Loggers Run Station, and HMB Endeavor supports to nothing, basically. Nothing is there. Unfortunately, Boomerang Bay is now closed for the season, so it's hard to see anything. The preparation for the Wax Museum, as well as Zombie High, which was back here at the Grizzly, is a little hard to see because they're all indoors. As you can see, the building right there. As we pan out, you can see the Wax Museum. I was going to mention earlier that the Pavilion Plaza has actually been getting a lot of business. California Great America does have this section and also the picnic section on the other side where the Eagles Flight Station is, and they actually do get a lot of companies coming in to rent out and host events there, as well as rent out some sections of the park or the entire park. The Second Greatest Showman, starring the great Ed Alonzo, will be showing at Theater Royale starting September 21st. In addition, Flight Deck will likely be open during that time. So now we're going to go ahead and look at the construction of Chaos House going on over at Willa Dodge's section. Over here in Orleans Place is going to be home to, obviously, like I mentioned, the Second Greatest Showman show, which is a parody of Greatest Showman featuring Ed Alonzo. In addition, I believe this area will still be Gesture Town as it was last Haunt season, as well as the return of the fan favorite Chaos House. I thought Chaos House was actually a really good maze. It combines lots of mirrors, illusions, lasers, and of course scare actors, and is pretty popular, so definitely go and check that out first. This is here when you come into the park. It's going to be when you take a left, you go on the left side of the reflection pole, and you go over to Orleans Place and go all the way down until you see the sign towards Flight Deck. So as you can see, they've already had the framing for the sign to come up. And I do have a POV and a video on Chaos House. As you can see, some of the mirrors are already in place. And it's also, they come in and they refresh the paint on the illusions to make sure everything pops like it should. Over here we can see some of the black and white psychedelic illusions, optical illusions they have here. They're painted on the floors, on the walls, and some of that is in front of you. I do want to mention though that this maze does feature a lot of strobing lights. So if you're one who is epileptic and can't stand any kind of strobing lights that may cause you to have a seizure, you may want to skip this maze. Although I do highly recommend it if you can take it. I think it's a really good maze, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it just as much as I did. I was actually very impressed. So the preparations that involve installing the large fuel tank as well as the large pumpkins that go on the outskirts of the reflection pool have yet to happen, but the park will be closed for the 49ers game on September 16th, so likely during that time they'll do that preparation. As you can see, there's some of the other side of the Nightwalker stage, so they replaced the Hot Rhythm Nights stage. It's looking pretty good. Your better option in terms of seeing everything is going to be on the right hand side if you're facing the back of Paris of Columbia, as this section appears to be a little bit lower than the other side. This is a very raised stage, so it's going to be kind of hard to see. Your eyes will be about level with the floor of the stage. I'm trying to make the last ride of the night in RailBlazer right now. I just wanted to mention that there is the Boot Hill Ride Cemetery on the other side of Patriot towards the Corkscrew. So over there, you can't really see it from there, but they do have all the tombstones, including Vortex, Stealth, Loggers Run, HMB Endeavor, and all the other things like that, including the Vertigo. It is now 8 o'clock and the park is officially closed. So we're going to go ahead and head on in for our last ride of the night on RailBlazer. And that's it. One of the ops just came by and put the chain across and is standing there to turn everybody else away. There. And the last rider. Maybe I'll get my own train. I think on the last one there's 6 more people there and 2 people here, which is 8. And then I am the last one. I'm the outlier. So hopefully maybe I'll get my own train. Let's see. So my phone died again, unfortunately, but I did get the Zen ride on RailBlazer for the last ride of the night. I do now have a Six Flags pass and a Good America pass, so you'll be seeing both sides of Halloween, both sides of the holidays, and the rest of the year. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully this has interested you, and we do a lot of these kind of things later on. So do subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the parks. Bye.